1969, man walked on the moon. Woodstock defined a generation. And rock music? Rock music absolutely exploded. While the world was changing at breakneck speed, the greatest rock artists of all time were in the studio, crafting songs that would echo through the decades. We're talking about tracks that didn't just dominate the charts, they rewrote the rulebook. Songs that your parents rocked out to, that you've heard 1,000 times, and that still give you chills. Today we're counting down the 12 most iconic rock songs of 1969. These aren't just great songs, these are cultural landmarks. From psychedelic masterpieces to blues-infused anthems, from hard-driving riffs to haunting ballads, 1969 gave us some of the most essential rock tracks ever recorded. So, buckle up, turn it up, and let's dive into the soundtrack of one of rock's greatest years. Kicking off our list at number 12 is a song that perfectly captured the dark, anxious undercurrent of the late 60s. The Rolling Stones' Gimme Shelter. Opening with one of the most ominous guitar riffs in rock history, Gimme Shelter is less a song and more a warning siren. Recorded in London as the optimism of the summer of love was fading into something much darker, this track reflects the violence and upheaval of the era, the Vietnam War, social unrest, and a sense that the world was teetering on the edge. But what makes this song truly unforgettable is the raw, primal vocal performance by Mary Clayton. Brought into the studio late at night while she was pregnant, Clayton delivered one of rock's most powerful guest performances, her voice cracking with emotion on the repeated line about war being just a shot away. It's intense, it's visceral, and it's absolutely haunting. Gimme Shelter showed that the Rolling Stones weren't just about swagger and rebellion. They could tap into something deeper and more profound. This wasn't party rock. This was rock as social commentary, and it set the tone for an increasingly turbulent era. At number 11, we have a song that launched one of the most legendary careers in music history, David Bowie's Space Oddity. Stepping through the door. Released just days before the Apollo 11 moon landing, Space Oddity tells the tragic tale of Major Tom, an astronaut who becomes disconnected from ground control and drifts into space. It's a story song, almost cinematic in its scope, and it introduced the world to Bowie's theatrical genius and his ability to blend science fiction with deeply human emotion. What's remarkable about Space Oddity is how it manages to feel both cosmic and intimate. The production uses everything from acoustic guitars to stylophone, that quirky electronic instrument that gives the song its otherworldly quality. It's folk, it's psychedelia, it's proto-glam rock all rolled into one. This song announced Bowie as an artist who would never play by the rules, someone who saw rock music as a canvas for storytelling and experimentation. While Major Tom may have been lost in space, Bowie had definitely landed, and he was about to change music forever. The timing couldn't have been more perfect. As the world watched humanity reach for the stars, Bowie was asking, but at what cost? At what? Coming in at number 10 is Jimi Hendrix's electrifying cover of Bob Dylan's All Along the Watchtower. Now, covering Bob Dylan is a bold move. The man's a lyrical genius. But Hendrix didn't just cover this song, he completely reimagined it. He took Dylan's acoustic folk ballad and transformed it into a psychedelic rock masterpiece, so definitive that even Dylan himself started performing it Hendrix's way. From the opening notes, Hendrix's guitar work is absolutely mesmerizing. The tone is piercing, the phrasing is urgent, and every note feels essential. He doesn't just play the guitar, he makes it speak, cry, and wail. The song builds with incredible tension, driven by relentless drumming and bass that never lets up. What makes this version so powerful is how Hendrix's interpretation actually enhances Dylan's apocalyptic lyrics. There's a sense of impending doom, of forces beyond our control, and Hendrix's guitar amplifies that anxiety to 11. This track proved that Hendrix wasn't just a virtuoso guitarist showing off his technical skills. He was a visionary artist who could take someone else's song and make it entirely his own. It's been covered hundreds of times since, but nobody has ever come close to matching the intensity and brilliance of Hendrix's version. At number 9, we're rolling down the river with Creedence Clearwater Revival's Proud Mary. John Fogerty wrote this absolute classic, and it became CCR's breakthrough hit. What's genius about Proud Mary is its simplicity. It's a song about leaving the city behind, working on a riverboat, and finding peace in a simpler life. But that simple story is delivered with some of the tightest, most infectious rock and roll you'll ever hear. That guitar riff is instantly recognizable, clean, crisp, and driving. The rhythm section locks in with mathematical precision, while Fogerty's vocals have just the right amount of grit. It starts relatively mellow and then kicks into high gear, taking you on a journey down the Mississippi. Proud Mary showcased CCR's unique ability to create music that sounded authentically American, rooted in blues, country, and rockabilly. Even though they were from California, not the Bayou, they crafted their own mythology, and audiences ate it up. The song has been covered countless times, most famously by Tina Turner, but the original remains a masterclass in songwriting and arrangement. It's rock and roll that makes you want to move, and isn't that what it's all about? Number 8 takes us to the arcade with The Who's Pinball Wizard.
Ever since I was a young boy, I played the silver ball.
This track comes from the rock opera Tommy, Pete Townshend's ambitious double album about a deaf, dumb, and blind kid who becomes a pinball champion. Yes, you heard that right, a rock opera. In 1969, The Who were pushing the boundaries of what rock music could be. Pinball Wizard is pure Who energy. Townshend's windmilling power chords, Roger Daltrey's powerful vocals, Keith Moon's explosive drumming, and John Entwistle's melodic bass lines all working in perfect chaos. The song has an anthemic quality that made it an instant classic, even outside the context of the album. What's interesting is that Townshend specifically wrote this song to win over an influential music critic who loved pinball. Talk about strategic songwriting. But what could have been a throwaway track became one of their signature songs. The lyrics paint this vivid picture of a pinball prodigy, playing by intuition and feel, becoming a sensation. It's theatrical, it's catchy, and it's quintessentially Who, loud, proud, and unapologetically over the top. Pinball Wizard proved that rock could tell complex stories, and that concept albums could produce standalone hits. It was progressive without being pretentious, and it rocks just as hard today as it did in 1969. At lucky number 7, we've got the Rolling Stones again with Honky Tonk Women. If Gimme Shelter showed the Stones' dark apocalyptic side, Honky Tonk Women is pure swagger and blues-soaked rock and roll. That iconic cowbell intro is one of the most recognizable openings in rock history. You hear those first few beats and you know exactly what's coming. This song is the Stones doing what they do best, channeling American blues and country through a British rock filter and creating something uniquely their own. Mick Jagger's vocals are playful and charismatic, Keith Richards' guitar work is loose and groovy, and the whole band sounds like they're having an absolute blast. The song tells the story of romantic encounters with women in Memphis and New York City, delivered with Jagger's characteristic cheekiness. It's not trying to be profound, it's just trying to make you move, and it absolutely succeeds. Honky Tonk Women topped the charts on both sides of the Atlantic, and it's remained a concert staple for the Stones ever since. It's the sound of a band at the absolute peak of their powers, confident enough to keep things simple and let the groove do the talking. Sometimes rock and roll doesn't need to be complicated. Sometimes it just needs to swing, and baby, this song swings hard. CCR returns to our countdown at number 6 with the ominous yet catchy Bad Moon Rising. Here's the beautiful contradiction of this song. It sounds sunny and upbeat, almost cheerful, but the lyrics are predicting doom and disaster. John Fogerty was inspired by a scene from a horror movie, and he crafted a song about impending catastrophe that somehow became a radio-friendly hit. The genius is in that contrast. You've got this bouncy, almost country rock melody paired with warnings about bad things coming and not going out tonight. It's apocalyptic folk rock, and it's absolutely brilliant. Bad Moon Rising became one of CCR's biggest hits, and it's easy to understand why. It's got an unforgettable hook, the instrumentation is tight and energetic, and there's something universal about the theme of sensing that trouble is on the horizon. The song has taken on different meanings over the decades, soundtracking everything from Vietnam War documentaries to countless films and TV shows. It's become shorthand for something bad is about to happen, and yet it remains strangely uplifting. CCR had an incredible run in 1969, and Bad Moon Rising is one of their finest moments, proof that you can package dark themes in an accessible melody and create something that resonates across generations. We're in the top 5 now, and at number 5 is Jimi Hendrix's psychedelic masterpiece, Purple Haze. Actually released in 1967 but achieving peak cultural impact and appearing on the US album in 1969, Purple Haze is the sound of Hendrix completely redefining what the electric guitar could do. That opening riff, using the tritone interval that had once been called the Devil's Interval, immediately signals that you're entering uncharted territory. Everything about this song is innovative. The guitar tone, the use of effects, the unconventional chord progressions. Hendrix was operating on a completely different level. The lyrics are deliberately ambiguous and dreamlike, capturing the disorienting experience that gave the song its name. But what really sets Purple Haze apart is how it balances experimentation with accessibility. Yes, it's psychedelic and trippy, but it's also got a killer hook and undeniable energy. It's weird without being alienating, innovative without being inaccessible. Hendrix recorded this in London with his power trio, the Jimi Hendrix Experience, and the production captured the rawness and intensity of his playing. This wasn't studio trickery, this was pure Hendrix, filtered through Marshall amplifiers turned up to 11. Purple Haze became an anthem of the psychedelic era and remains one of the most influential guitar recordings ever made. Every rock guitarist since has lived in the shadow of what Hendrix accomplished here. The Stones make their third appearance on our list at number 4 with the provocative and hypnotic Sympathy for the Devil. From the opening conga drums to Jagger's first-person narration as Satan himself, this song is 6 minutes of pure dark magic. Recorded in 1968 but having massive cultural impact in 1969, it's a history lesson delivered by Lucifer, referencing everything from the crucifixion of Christ to the Russian Revolution to the Kennedy assassinations. The song was controversial from day one. Some stations refused to play it. Some listeners were genuinely disturbed, but that was exactly the point. The Stones were holding up a mirror to humanity's darkest impulses, suggesting that maybe the devil is just us. Musically, Sympathy for the Devil is a departure for the band, incorporating samba rhythms and building layers of percussion that create an almost hypnotic effect. It builds and builds, adding intensity without ever exploding, maintaining that sinuous, seductive groove throughout. Keith Richards' guitar work snakes through the track, complementing rather than dominating, while Jagger's vocal performance is both chilling and charismatic. He inhabits the character completely, making you believe in this ancient evil presence who's been pulling humanity's strings for millennia. This song proved that rock music could be literary, historical, and philosophical, while still being absolutely electrifying. It remains one of the Stones' most daring and essential recordings. Breaking into our top 3 at number 3 is CCR's fiery protest anthem, Fortunate Son.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag.
In just over 2 minutes, John Fogerty delivered one of the most powerful anti-war statements in rock history. Written in response to the Vietnam War and the class disparities that determined who fought in it, Fortunate Son is pure working-class rage set to a furious rock and roll beat. The song attacks the hypocrisy of wealthy and politically connected families whose sons avoided the draft, while working-class kids were sent to fight and die. Fogerty's vocals are urgent and angry, the guitars are slashing and raw, and the whole thing hits like a punch to the gut. What makes Fortunate Son so effective is its directness. There's no metaphor, no coded language, it's a straightforward call-out of inequality and injustice. The phrase, "It ain't me," became a rallying cry for a generation that felt betrayed by their leaders. Decades later, this song remains relevant whenever questions of privilege, class, and who pays the price for political decisions arise. It's been used in countless Vietnam War films, and it's become synonymous with that era's anti-establishment sentiment. CCR managed to distill complex political and social issues into 2 minutes and 20 seconds of perfect protest rock. That's the power of great songwriting. Taking the silver medal at number 2 is the Beatles' mysterious and funky Come Together. By 1969, the Beatles were in their final year as a band, and Come Together showed they were still innovating right up to the end. John Lennon wrote this track, and it's wonderfully weird. Cryptic lyrics, a swampy groove, and a production style that was unlike anything they'd done before. The song opens with that iconic bass line from Paul McCartney, simple but absolutely hypnotic. Then Lennon's voice comes in with those bizarre stream-of-consciousness lyrics about someone with juju eyeball and toe jam football. What does it mean? Honestly, it doesn't matter. The vibe is everything. Come Together is the Beatles at their loosest and funkiest. There's a bluesy, almost sleazy quality to the track that was a departure from their earlier work. Ringo's drumming is sparse but perfectly placed. George Harrison's guitar is subtle and tasteful, and the whole thing grooves in a way that Beatles songs rarely did. This was the opening track of Abbey Road, arguably their finest album, and it set the tone perfectly. Mature, confident, experimental, but still utterly Beatles. The song has been covered and sampled countless times since, proving its enduring influence. As one of the final singles the Beatles released before their breakup, Come Together showed that even as they were falling apart, they could still create magic. And finally, our number one most iconic rock song of 1969, Led Zeppelin's earth-shattering Whole Lotta Love.
You need cooling, baby, I'm not fooling.
If you want to understand why Led Zeppelin became the biggest rock band in the world, just listen to this song. From the opening riff, one of the most recognizable and powerful in all of rock music, to the explosive climax, Whole Lotta Love is 5.5 minutes of pure rock and roll power. Jimmy Page's guitar work is legendary here. That riff is simple yet devastating, and his solo work throughout is masterful. But what really sets this track apart is the psychedelic middle section, where the band takes you on a sonic journey through effects, backwards echoes, and theremin, creating a disorienting, almost hallucinogenic experience before slamming back into that crushing riff. Robert Plant's vocals are primal and sexual. John Bonham's drumming is thunderous, and John Paul Jones's bass anchors everything with unshakable groove. This is a band operating as a perfect unit, each member essential to the whole. Whole Lotta Love became Led Zeppelin's biggest hit, and it defined what hard rock could be. It was heavy, it was blues-based, it was experimental, and it absolutely rocked. The song influenced countless bands and essentially laid the blueprint for heavy metal. This wasn't just a great song, it was a declaration of dominance. Led Zeppelin had arrived, and rock music would never be the same. And there you have it, the 12 most iconic rock songs of 1969. What an incredible year for music. From the Rolling Stones to Hendrix, from CCR to the Beatles, from The Who to Led Zeppelin, 1969 gave us a collection of tracks that continue to define what rock and roll is all about. These songs weren't just hits, they were cultural moments, artistic statements, and sonic innovations that changed the course of music history. They've been covered, sampled, referenced, and celebrated for over 5 decades, and they still sound as powerful today as they did back then. What's your favorite rock song from 1969? Did we get the ranking right, or would you shuffle things around? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing from you. If you enjoyed this countdown, smash that like button, subscribe for more rock history, and hit the notification bell so you never miss when we drop new videos. Keep on rocking, and we'll see you in the next one.